Welcome back to Reality Roundup, y'all. I'm Maddie.
Oh, you weren't gonna. I'm Mariama. I thought you were gonna introduce me.
In my head, I'm always thinking like the read, so I just
W-
literally,
We're solid.
yeah.
What do we do here, Maddie?
We yap, but specifically right now we are yapping about the challenge.
Yes.
Our general yapology is about all reality TV. Well, a vast
Some,
majority of
some.
some reality TV, not vast majority. You're not going to catch the Kardashians over here.
No.
But speaking of which, friend, did you see that there's a Love Is Blind UK?
Yeah. Have you? Are you watching it?
I haven't started it because I didn't know if we wanted to do it together. If this is like
Well,
our
no, because we did talk about this, and I said I'm not interested in doing that.
well,
And it's all already aired, so I haven't seen it, but I have watched other people talking about it. So I'm
oh.
already like spoiled. Like I know what the entire season, what happens. Um, Sorry
Oh,
about
there's only
that.
like four episodes out.
What are you talking about, girl? There's everything is out except for the reunion. They just did the weddings on Wednesday.
Love is Blind UK?
It's over with.
Oh my God, why would you do this to me? I have to catch up. Oh
It's finished. Like yeah, like I
no.
said, I
I'm
didn't
so
watch any of it, but
sad.
I watched some other YouTubers talking about it, and yeah, I pretty much know what happens. I've watched like three channels. Like some of them are still in the middle of their rewatch, but like at least one of them has completed the entire series
I need to
or the
tell my
entire
sister
show.
then
I
if
don't
you
know
don't
if
want to
there's
watch it
gonna.
with me.
Well, I thought we talked about it and we went, we're not gonna do that because then we'd be having to do multiple filming sessions per week of the
Oh
challenge
my gosh, yes, you're right. We're
and
so
Love Is
we're
Blind.
only doing one show at a time.
Yeah. Well, in the future we might not, but like, because I'm pretty sure the challenge is going to start, the end of this season is going to start overlapping with some other shows that we talked about doing.
Hmm.
So we'll have to figure out how to like get those filming sessions down.
Gotcha.
But yeah, yes, I have heard of Love Is Blind UK. Have you?
I have news to me. I saw the trailer. I saw a bit of the trailer literally like 2 days ago when I was watching a movie with my mommy. And I was like, oh my God, I have to watch this. But then I was like, ooh, I gotta ask Mariama if we're doing this together because I completely forgot about all of the things you just said.
Yeah, we're only doing the US season. I think
Okay.
I know why you probably didn't think, or you probably didn't remember, because when we spoke about it, we were like, oh, we're only doing the US, and you're like, yeah, because I'm not trying to do like Brazil and Mexico, and I think you thought I meant we were gonna do the like we those were never on the table. We were never gonna do the non-English speaking like shows.
I that's what
I
I
was
thought you meant. I
I
thought you just meant
yeah.
the non-English speaking country.
I was specifically talking about Love Is Blind UK. I was like, hey, we're just gonna skip that one.
Okay, never mind. Sorry.
Okay. Are you ready to get into this episode?
Yes, ma'am. How are we doing our structure today?
Well, we'll just go because I actually like the way they edited this. They went like
Yeah. Challenge by
elimination by elimination, like era
yeah.
by era, for the most part. So I think we can just kind of stick with the formatting that they use. What did you
Gotcha.
think of the episode though before we get into this? I'm just looking at my notes.
General thoughts of the episode. I actually this episode made me like very, I don't know if it was the time of night or I was watching it or whatever, but I was like actually very annoyed at several points, not with like the structure of the game or anything like that, but with like I keep wanting to say characters, with like contestants,
Contestants.
participant, what do they call themselves?
Contestants.
Contestants. I was like getting annoyed with that. But um I this was obviously my second like real full episode, and I was like fully into it this time. Like I was like, okay, like I know, and I honestly think the pod helps last week because I was like, okay, like I got my answers, my questions answered. I know a lot of background about a whole bunch of people now. And so I was like able to just like participate and watch this like as I
Yeah,
would any other show, and I was very much enjoying it, but got very annoyed at some points with some people.
with Holmes.
Oh my God. I wrote two bananas and Laurel. I wrote bananas is annoying me with you could have squashed out this beef shit. And then Laurel and then I literally wrote Laurel is so full of shit.
Okay, we'll get there. No,
Yes.
so first, let's get to the nominations. I was kind of surprised, but pleasantly so, that we started like right in the arena and we just got right into business. We saw like I think there was like a shot within the first first 30 seconds of the show where you saw everybody standing in a row, and
Yeah.
so they didn't like try to obfuscate or hide like who had been nominated by the winners or whatever.
I was
Um, to,
confused at first, to be honest, because I thought that I'd missed something.
yeah.
And I was just because it was very much a jump cut, basically. And so
Mhm.
I was just like, wait a minute. But then I was like, okay, obviously the people who are dressed for the talent or
Yeah.
for the elimination are the people who have been selected. And so I was just like, oh, okay. Like, and then I caught up very instantly. And then obviously they did their little flashbacks throughout the episode. But initially I really thought I'd missed something because I was like, who, what, when? I thought we were still in the chambers.
So I wrote down the nominations. So for Era One, we had Derek and Anissa. Not a surprise. I think that was like the only confirmed nominees that we had
Yeah.
at the end of the last episode. And then for Era Two, Brandon and Cara. Cara was a huge shock to me. I think I even said this when we were talking last time. I was like, it doesn't make sense. Like, vote Aviv in. She's not like super tight with anybody. Like, she doesn't have any close relationships. It's not gonna upset anyone if she comes back. It's not like she can, you know,
Hmm.
round up numbers and lead a coup against you. Like, protect yourself. It's early in the game. Like, why would you take a shot at Cara? Like,
And then
she's not
my
gonna lose to
point,
Kellyanne.
yes. And then my point was I think Laurel is angry enough or
Yeah,
vengeful enough where
yeah.
and then she says it herself in her little confessional where she's like, any chance I get to get rid of Cara Maria,
I
I'm
think
gonna
I
get rid
think
of
it's
Cara
I think
Maria.
it's short sighted on Laurel's part. Like,
Of
because
course it is, but
yeah,
she let her not her emotions get the better of her. That's sexism. But I knew I was like,
I mean, she
she
did let
is.
her emotions get the better
Well,
of her.
she did.
But
But I like last episode or last week, I was like, Laurel hates Cara Maria enough to try to use this opportunity to get rid of Cara Maria just to get rid of Cara Maria. She doesn't give a fuck
yeah,
about the rest. And Bananas is like Team Laurel, I guess. I don't
yeah.
fucking
Well, they're
know.
very close. They've been close for years. So era three, Tony and Amanda. Also, like when I saw this, I wrote down Corey effed up. I thought Corey made a mistake here. Like, he has long-standing beef with Tony. I
Oh
understand.
yeah.
Also, he didn't really have a ton of options from his team, specifically of guys to throw in.
Are
For
there an equal amount of women and men on all the teams?
Yeah, there's 5 and 5.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
5 women, 5 men, 10 people per team. But I do like that we have dwindled down the cast quite a bit now. Now we're just really at what like normal seasons start with, which is still too large in my opinion. Like 32 people.
Yeah.
It's still a ton of people. But I do think that like Tori would have never let him throw Devin in. That's like her best friend, right? Like, that's her guy. That'll never
Mm.
happen. Jordan is Tori's like ex, but like also Jordan was specifically in Chambers was kind of talking to Corey like, hey, if you take care of me now, I'll take care of you later. And Jordan's word is pretty solid, so you kind of got
I
to,
thought that was a good strategy.
yeah, and you don't know where Tony is, and Tony is usually aligned with Bananas. Bananas is typically not working with Corey, so it makes sense. Like, I don't think that was bad. I actually thought the worst move for any of the votes this nominations was throwing Amanda in and I thought Corey messed
Yeah.
up by throwing Amanda in because Corey, as many challenges he's done, he really doesn't have any close relationships with any of the people that are on this season of the
Mm.
challenge. And doing this to appease Tori while like in the short term, it keeps the peace on the team. It keeps the politics on the team like pretty clean. What it really does is if Amanda goes home, and because Naya was the person that was down there, again, Naya, who's 6 inches and probably like 35, 40 pounds heavier than Amanda, was probably going
Yeah.
to win almost anything they went up against. Like, getting rid of Amanda, who is somebody who's trying to align with you, I thought was a pretty bad idea, especially because you're doing so at the thought of like building a relationship with Tori, who has two other men that she's much closer. Actually, Tori probably has like 4 men who she would have like above Corey in like her, in like a succession plan for protection, right? So like probably
Absolutely.
Devin at number one, Jordan at two, Bananas, who she's always had a good like working relationship with. Like, they've always worked together. He's always looked out for her and vice versa, and they've
Yeah.
never like directly voted against each other. And then probably Josh, who she's had a really good relationship with, over the last few seasons and a good friendship with outside of the show over the last few seasons, right? And I don't think
Yeah.
you're not really going to penetrate that or those relationships to be more protected than Tori. I just maybe, and I think maybe I'm thinking about this wrong because I'm probably in my mind thinking like, hey, this is an individual game and it could turn into an individual game at any point, and maybe they're just like way more like team minded at this point. But I didn't see a reason for him to throw in Amanda. If I was him, I would have fought for Avery. Avery again, same thing like Aviv on Era Two. Avery's been gone for a while, hasn't done as many challenges as a lot of other people. I'm trying to think. Well, no, Avery was on Portland, so she was on Portland with Naya and Jordan. They came from the same Real World season,
Okay.
but she hasn't been here for a while. She doesn't have a ton of close relationships, even if she was on the same Real World season as them. I don't think any of them are gonna like risk their game and their relationships for Avery. She's not gonna come back with like some sort of vendetta to grind against you, and if she did, she's not gonna have the numbers likely to pull it off.
Yeah.
Or
And in fact, I literally forgot what she looked like.
yeah. She didn't get a lot of airtime these
Yeah, she
few
popped
episodes.
up toward the end of this episode, or maybe it was even in the preview of next episode because I was watching my DVR version, and I was just like, "Who the hell is that?"
That's Avery.
I
And
was like, "Who the
then
hell is that?"
so I thought that was the only like really bad vote in. Everybody else I was like disappointed, but like well some of the other people I was disappointed, but I don't think they were bad nominations. And
Yeah,
then last but not least, Paulie versus not versus Paulie and Olivia were nominated from Era 4. I
yeah.
I was kind of like, "Oh, snap. This is going to be like blockbuster." And I do think it ended up well, we'll talk about it when we get there. So,
Yeah, yeah, we will.
well, first things that TJ lets us know is that they're going to be playing in four different eliminations this time around.
Hmm.
One from each era. So from era one, we have Balls In, legendary game. Era two, Pole Wrestle, which I think is everybody. These are like everyone's top three games probably.
Yeah.
And then era three was Hall Brawl, which I think is everyone's favorite. Um,
Hall brawl.
it was, and then
It was a
era
lot.
four was Take Shelter. And like when I was writing this down and I was taking notes, I was like question mark, because and the only reason is, and I think like the fans have like, well, maybe just me, but I've thought that the eliminations through era four in the 30s have been like pretty shite. So I was like, why would they choose Take Shelter? I wish this was like a Not So Fast, or like, you don't know any of this, but I wish it was a different elimination. I wish it was like
Yeah.
Not So Fast, but then I couldn't remember whether Not So Fast was like an era three or an era four. Um,
Oh, I see what you mean. Like if
like
it
if it was
belonged
and
to them.
when it was introduced really, and I do probably think it was probably introduced in era three, because I believe if it was introduced in like era four, like we would have just did it right, because it's so much more
Yeah.
iconic than Take Shelter. Take Shelter has been played once on the main challenge, and I think maybe once on All Stars, although I'm not sure about that one.
Take Shelter is the only one of these four challenges where I thought I could have a shot if I was
Yeah,
ever put in this position.
I
I was
don't
like, I could do
I
this.
don't think it's that good of a I don't think it's that good of a game, honestly. I think like they try to be like, oh, it was like a legendary upset because CT went. I'm like, CT went home because he wasn't trying. Like CT went, no, not because he wasn't trying. CT went home because he underestimated Jay and he was out of shape. Like he didn't get upset. Well, I mean he did get upset, but he did get upset by Jay, who was a rookie at the time. So I guess this was like a big
Do
deal.
people practice? This is me, but
These
when I
things.
was looking at Take Shelter and Hall Brawl in particular, I was like, why wouldn't you practice these? I don't if I don't know how else to explain
So
that
the
other than I
games
would practice.
the games and the eliminations that are played on the challenge are not really things that you can practice. They're not really things you can't really replicate them at the scale of the production on the show. But I do think that like there is probably a lot of like the historic challenges are sort of like heights over water, those sort of things, like, right, like you're not about to build a 50 foot by whatever,
Yeah.
like contraption that's gonna get lifted up by crane over 30 feet of a lake, right? For you to like do a lot of this stuff. A lot of it, but what you can work on, what a lot of these games do have, like what you can work on is like your speed in a straight line, right? Your balance, your agility,
Gotcha. Yeah, you're right.
those type of things. I think
Your
probably the
grip
best,
strength.
yeah, best thing, your grip strength. The best thing you can probably do is like CrossFit or like some sort of like gymnastics training or
Mm,
something like that, which a lot of people do. Any sort of like Olympic weightlifting training, so cleans and snatches, any sort of like balance training, some CrossFit training, which is just like muscular endurance type of
yeah.
stuff. Because that's what a
Yeah.
lot of this stuff is. It's like stations, especially in the finals. It's like a big CrossFit WOD, right? It's like go to this station, do this thing. Once you do this thing, run 3 miles to this next station, go to that
Gotcha.
station, do this thing, run 6 miles to the next station, climb up a mountain, ride a bike, canoe, 2 miles or whatever. Like so, it's a bunch of like little stuff like piecemeal together.
Absolutely.
That's typically how the challenges go. In the past, also a lot of the or the finals go. In the past, also a lot of the challenges you would also have these sort of like, oh, swim out to a buoy and collect your puzzle pieces and then come back and assemble this puzzle, or
Mm. I
walk.
mean, like the invitational, right? Like you
Yeah,
had to do
yeah.
the puzzle, you had to get in there, you had to row your little boat, you had to think, get your things, come
Yeah.
back, put them back.
So those are the type of things you can practice. Practice swimming, practice rowing, like upper body strength, right? Right.
Yeah.
Think about what sent you home the last time, and then think about why you lost that elimination, and then probably go and work on that
And
strength. If it
go
was
and
like,
work on that.
yeah.
Which Anissa alludes to at some point. I mean, we'll get there, but I actually
Oh,
was, yeah. Oh,
Anissa, don't piss me off. Anyway,
oh,
let's
yes.
get to it. So
Okay.
we start off with Era 3 because they're playing Balls In, which was introduced in Era 1. Very confusing. But so we start
I
off.
get what they were trying to do. Yeah, they were trying to like mix it up a little bit.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
Era 3 is playing Balls In. I was having fun until the boys went. Like when not well, Naya and Amanda went, and I don't think I listened to the rules because I'm like I know all these games. I don't care. I don't care about none of this. So they're playing. Everything seems fine, and then the boys go, and I'm seeing dead ball. I'm seeing safe, and I was like, but he hasn't put the ball in the hoop yet. Why is
I
he
was
safe?
confused by the dead ball
I was
situation.
like, what kind of weak shit is this? When did we ever play this? Like, when did we ever just get to the circle and you got a free point? No, like if you get to the circle and I still got an arm wrapped around you and you can't reach the bucket, you can't reach the bucket. You got to get me off of you to score a point. Like, what do you
That's
mean?
what I
Get to the inner
thought.
circle. I was like, oh no, like this is not bueno.
Honestly, I feel like they did it for time, right? Like if you're gonna
I
do
yeah,
four,
yes, that makes
hold on,
sense.
let me get my words right because I want to make sure I'm right. If you do four eliminations and two matches of each, basically, with like the survival box one being kind of a little bit all at the same time, you gotta save some time. I mean, when I looked at the DVR with commercials was like an hour and 20 minutes. And I was like, Lord Jesus, okay, this is what we're doing. Thank God I can fast forward through these commercials. You're fine.
I didn't think you were gonna finish talking so quickly.
If I was paying attention, I would have kept talking while you were drinking water. But like,
um,
honestly, I just think they did it for time. But
no, that makes a lot of sense.
yeah. But I was confused because maybe I just obviously because I only did one pass through the episode. But did the girls not trigger any of those
No, I
situations?
guess not. That's also why I was confused because
Okay,
there
I was
was like a one
confused.
on the first point that Naya scored where she was like in the inner circle, but she lost the ball. So I guess
Yeah, I was
I
confused.
where she kind of goes to like throw it in, and she I don't know why I'm doing this. You can't see my arm, but she goes to stretch and like dunk it essentially, and
Yeah,
she hits it on the back rim and loses the ball and has to get it back and go. I will
yeah, I
say,
was confused.
um, what I wrote about this, I thought this elimination too easy for Naya. Like again,
Mm,
6 inches, 40 pounds. What you going to do, Amanda? Not. I mean,
yeah,
Amanda did score a point, which I didn't think she was going to get on this elimination because that's never been her strong suit, like agility and speed and like the athletic portions of the game. But Naya honestly didn't really look impressive to me. Like and I said this, seeing Naya back, like I wonder what type of shape Naya was going to be in, especially like with her like health
hmm
issues
hmm
that she just kind of came shook back from. I wonder what sort of like shape she was gonna be in. I wonder like how aggressive she was kind of gonna be when she came back. And she got like a real easy match today. So I didn't really see
Yeah.
anything much to celebrate. I think that was like kind of the story for all of the women except for the last one. Yeah, for all of the matches between the women except for the last one, it just kind of seemed like one person in each match was kind of at a great like
OP.
advantage,
Yeah.
so you didn't really get
Overpowered
to yeah, you didn't really get to see them tested in any good way.
the
I will say
listeners.
the guys match for this one specifically for Boston, I was surprised. I didn't think that Tony was gonna dominate Leroy at all. Now I
I
did
thought Leroy did. I don't want to say he didn't try, but I feel like,
No, I think he just was outmatched and outman.
oh,
Leroy Tony came in here probably in the best shape that he's ever been in, like the biggest mass wise that he's ever been. He looks like he's been really lifting, he's been hitting the gym. And Leroy kind of came in the smallest that he's ever been on a challenge mass
hmm,
wise. Leroy is getting a little bit of that dad bod, but he got that like that thin build dad bod, so it's like
yeah.
right? Like Leroy is typically, I mean, Leroy in his first few seasons was like super cut in the upper body, like shoulders, biceps, like
Yeah.
chest, and he didn't have the muscle that he needed. I was very impressed with Tony. I was like, Tony might be a problem later on. I didn't expect Tony to be like in this cast of men, like all errors, like I didn't expect Tony to be like the physical sort of like power player that he kind of showed himself to be today. I thought he would excel at other things. Um
I mean, I
Good for
think that
him.
in retrospect to the first episode, to episode one, um, he he pushed this narrative like really aggressively against, hold on, Corey about like, like I'm not the best, I'm not the best, like who you're gonna want to face in the end, like you
Yeah.
could probably beat me in the
Well,
end.
I still think
But
like Corey would have taken him
I'm not saying that
tonight.
he can't, but I'm kind of like, me thinks you were protesting a little bit too much now. Like you were
Yeah.
very much like, oh, like don't look at me, don't look at me. And
He
now it's
was right
like,
though. He's right though. Contextually, he is correct. Like Jordan is
yes.
a much scarier player than he is or has ever been. Like
But
historically
I think
speaking.
he used that to his advantage. And I think that his like proselytizing of like how weak he
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
actually does not match up with how weak he actually is
Yeah.
now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks
Does that
good. He
make
looks
sense?
great. I was very impressed with Tony. Yes, it does make sense. I was
Yeah.
very impressed with Tony. I got my eyes on him. I'll be watching him in the edit now. Uh, um, the only other thing I was like Hurricane Naya got the boys going crazy.
Oh my gosh, wait, what did I write? I wrote, oh, so now we're hunting Naya. Like I was like, oh my God.
Get to the next one. All in all, good start to the episode. This little elimination, it
Yes.
was real fun. I love that Naya got her win. I was disappointed that Leroy is going home. Do you have any other thoughts on them?
No, my next note is for the next challenge or for the next elimination.
Next elimination is pole wrestle, and it falls to Era One, which is
Hmm.
just really fortunate because lots of history with pole wrestle on Era One. Derek, who obviously is the king of this particular elimination round, this is where he made his name
Hmm.
as the pit bull, going up against much larger men, and oftentimes,
I would like to say at some point in time, when he was wrestling Mark, I was somebody said this, I don't know who, but somebody was like, can he breathe or something like that? Because like when they zoomed in on the way he was like crunched up under Mark, I
hmm
was like, I'm actually very worried about like him being able to
he's
breathe in this
he's
moment.
very good. Like he has excellent technique for this game. There was a point that I was watching it, and I don't think I've ever seen anyone else do this, where Derek is holding onto the pole and he's on like a bottom position, and then he squeezes his knee between his chest and the pole to try to give himself like more leverage to push it away from his body
Hmm.
because Mark is
Hmm.
like wrapped around him holding onto it, and he's trying to like push against Mark's like trying to rip it out for him. And that's a very common thing where people will like hold on to the pole and they'll immediately spin it to their body and have
Yeah.
their opponent on their back, and then all you have to do is extend your arms, and if you can get fully stretched out, you can just
The person can't reach.
yeah, just the person can't reach. But like I guess Mark was just probably stronger than him, And so he put his knee between his chest and the pole and started like at one point pushing with his leg. And I was like, I don't think I've seen anybody else done or anybody else do that. And he just has great control, like
And
of
Mark hit
him.
him with a wrestling move,
Yeah, he
which
has.
I thought,
Yeah,
because Mark is like, I'm a professional wrestler now. And so as soon as he like flipped over him, I was like, okay.
yeah. Oh
I
no,
was like,
I
you've
was
been
very nervous
practicing.
at that. I thought Mark was gonna break his neck. I was like, oh god.
I was,
But
oh my gosh. Oh, it scared me so much.
it was good. Like I also just loved the editing and the music in this particular elimination round. So
Mm.
I was having fun. I was super hype. I was hype a lot
I
during this
missed because
episode.
I was a Teen Wolf girly, like way back when, obviously. I missed the way that MTV does the song credit, like where they like will just tell you what song it is when they're playing. I actually really miss that. I love that like weird little quirk of MTV. And so
Yeah.
I was looking at it and I like would pop up in the corner and I would be like, oh my gosh, I miss this. Like I
Yeah.
really miss this.
um so what did I put on? I was like, Derek put on a clinic. Um, did they flash? No, they flashed to Mark talking about his mom before the elimination round started, right?
Yes, yes.
And I was like, and just in that, I wrote Mark is a challenge hero. Like Mark is a challenge hero. Mark is also one of the few heroes that we've had on this show that has remained a hero until now, like literal 20 plus years
Mm.
of just being like the greatest man on the challenge. You had someone said this, Tina said this, she was like, it's the challenge Godfather versus the challenge Pitbull, because those
Yeah.
are their nicknames or whatever. And
Yeah.
he really is the Godfather. He's like the
And
genesis
he
of all of
lost
this.
with a lot of like good
Yeah,
grace.
next thing that we pop up to is Rachel and Anissa in the house talking about Anissa getting
Yeah.
voted in. And at the time, like when this was all going down, I was like, yeah, of course you're gonna vote Anissa in. Katie and Anissa are the two worst women on the challenge. But when Anissa started talking about it and they started showing all the pictures, I was like, you know what, girl, you are right. Like you do have a right to take it personal. Like that's your ex girlfriend slash best slash like former BFF slash like lifelong friend, damn near.
Exactly. And
And I don't
that's why I wrote exactly I don't know why I said exactly, but I was agreeing with somebody on screen. I was like letting CT pick was wild. I think it was weird.
I don't well no I don't think it was well this I don't think voting Anissa in is a problem. I don't even think Rachel should have voted somebody else in just because of their relationship. I generally don't like care about those things. If y'all aren't married, if y'all ain't got kids, if y'all aren't like roommates or something like that, I really don't care about you backstabbing your friends you like in the game and doing what's best for you in the game, right? So long as
Yeah.
it's like it makes sense game wise, and I think Rachel's move here makes sense. What I really was like kind of like side eyeing Rachel on is like, why didn't you give your girl like a heads up? Like if
Yes.
you knew that if you're like if and I thought her reasoning was sound. She's like, hey, I don't want to rock the politics of the team right now. I don't want to rock the boat. If I would have thrown Jody in all of the guys, and because Jody does have a lot of relationships with the guys, she's a very strong woman. She's a very strong like competitor. You right? Like you might need Jody's vote at some point in the future to keep yourself from the bottom. She could very well hold power in
Yeah.
the game soon. Um, and I thought all of that made sense for Rachel. Tina is her actual like best friend of like 20 years.
Yeah.
In real life, like two of their trio of their iconic trio of mean girls. But like that all makes sense to me from Rachel's behalf. But like pull Anissa to the side before y'all go into chambers and just be like, hey, listen,
Exactly.
really is between you and Jody or hey, I can only save one person. I'm going to save Tina because of this reason. And then, I don't really want to CT's going to save one person. He's going to save Jody and it looks like it's going to be you. Here's why. I don't want to push too hard for Jody because if I do, then Darrell and Brad and right, like Brad and CT and Darrell and Derek and Mark, they're all going to have a
Yeah.
problem with it. Whichever four of them are left here after eliminations, they're going to have a problem with me possibly putting
Exactly.
in
I
Jody
think it
because because the
It
truth
could
is,
have been a
whoever
much
went,
more open
yeah, like
conversation.
whoever went against Katie was coming back. No shade to Katie, but like this just isn't her thing. Like she's kind of,
No.
you know,
She's the one who said the vacation thing, right?
yeah, she's the one who's here for a vacation.
Yeah. So
Honestly,
I
I
don't
was
blame
quite
that.
impressed with Katie. Like I was like, Katie looked surprisingly good. She's never
She
looked
fought.
better. She's never looked better in her nearly 20 years, and that's coming from a loss. So that should tell you how her previous 20 years looked. But
Well, I didn't know anything about that. That's why I was just like, she looks good.
she looked good. She looked good, and I also wrote. I feel like her kids should be proud of her. Like her husband should be proud. Like she did
Yeah.
the family well. This time
The
out.
Cooley family. Yes.
I bet she did the family well.
Like maybe Anissa will get some fire back and like not
Anissa's not going nowhere.
uh, okay.
Well, and I only say that because Anissa's Anissa's issues, like historically from the duel two, then like all the previous challenges was her unwillingness. Like she played the doormat a lot of times for her alliance, in that you could kind of like betray Anissa whenever, probably why Rachel felt real comfortable betraying her without even giving her a heads up. You can betray Anissa whenever, wherever, and as long as like you came back with some, like she let it go. She lost a deadlifting competition to Svetlana. Like she lost a deadlifting competition to
Words
a
I don't know what that means.
listen, she lost a deadlifting competition. You know what a deadlift is,
Yeah,
right?
I do
You
know what
pick
you're talking
something
about. The
heavy up off the
Svetlana part
floor.
is that I don't
Oh, okay.
understand.
Svetlana is a woman whose thighs are literally not as thick as Anissa's upper arms
Oh,
at any point in her life. Like Svetlana is like, this was like 20-year-old Svetlana who was 98 pounds. No lie. I'm exaggerating. I'm being hyperbolic, but I'll show you a picture.
but I'm just wondering how Anissa lost.
Because they had an agreement beforehand that the competition was essentially that like you had to like bet against each other, like
Hmm.
like raise each other to throw coconuts in the basket. And so you'll go like, hey, I think I can lift 20 coconuts, and they throw 20 coconuts into a basket. And then somebody else, and then the next, I'd go, I think I can lift 30 coconuts. And then you go, no, I can lift 45. And I go, I can lift 50. And you guys would go until you got to a number where I no longer believed you or you no longer believed me. And then I'd say, okay, go ahead and do it. And Svetlana's thighs are literally as thick as Anissa's arms. So there's a point. So before the game, essentially, Anissa and Svetlana talk, and she promises Svetlana that she's not gonna make her lift the basket, because it's like this metal. It's like this huge metal basket that is hooked up to this like thing. So there's the weight of the basket plus the weight of like however many coconuts are in there.
Gotcha.
I feel like Svetlana couldn't have lifted 10 coconuts. As soon as we would have got to 15, I'd be like, go ahead. And that would have been a dub. But Anissa and Svetlana apparently made this pact. Hey, I'm not going to call you out. So Svetlana just let the number get to like an astronomically high number that neither of them could lift. And then she just called Anissa out anyway. Instead of being like, hey, don't call me out because I don't even want to attempt to lift this. But instead of like making you try to lift 400 pounds, maybe I'll make you try to lift like 285 or whatever, which I can't lift and you might be able to lift. So if you can lift it, you stay in the game. If you can't lift it, then I stay in the game
Yes,
because you
yes.
took care of me. Instead of like doing that, Svetlana was dead ass like, oh no, we're gonna get to the strongman numbers, and then now you're gonna go and you're not gonna call me out. And I'm like looking at Anissa like, girl, why aren't you calling her out?
That doesn't make any sense.
It doesn't make any sense. And a lot of Anissa's like eliminations or a lot of her political games early on in her challenge career, whether it was the duel, she did go to the final in the duel too, but even like rivals and even like free agents, like I just feel like she sort of made herself an easy like scapegoat while trying to like maintain these
Yeah.
relationships. I feel like she did something similar on like the Inferno 2 or 3 as well. 3 on one of the Infernos, whichever one she was on. I feel like she did something similar there too. And then after that, I think probably since I thought she had a good shot on free agents. I don't know what her issue was there. I think probably since like Dirty 30, no, Bloodlines. Probably since like Bloodlines, her biggest issue is just that she's never come to any of these shows like in shape. Like she hasn't like in any season that she's done post Bloodlines. I don't think she's ever come in challenge shape. Like she may have been in shape for Anissa. She may have like because I think like between one of those, I think like Total Madness or Double Agent, she actually came in a lot lighter than she previously was, but she certainly wasn't in challenge shape and she certainly wasn't prepared to run. And now she also has like two bad knees. Like it's just, we're getting up there. You at that age, you 40, you post 40,
Yeah.
like you're not trying to be in the gym like two times a day,
No.
like doing all of that. Your knees is messed up. You didn't have
Well, I mean, I would
surgery.
say that, except I'm looking at a picture of Rachel, who owned some sort
Yeah.
of fitness
Yeah, you're right.
empire, and
Yeah,
Mark, who
Rachel.
is taking up professional wrestling
That's true.
now.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's no excuse. Thank you, Maddie.
I'm sorry, Anissa, I didn't mean to, but
Well,
I'm just, but I
but that's her thing. Like,
yeah,
and I say this as somebody who, like, again, who's been watching this show since 10 years old, rooting for everybody black, and been rooting for Anissa and getting disappointed by Anissa for many, many years. She's made some like idiotic political moves
yeah,
when she really had like a great opportunity um, in the beginning. I feel like on the duel, even where she made it to the finals, I feel like there was even a point where this is probably why her and DM's relationship got messed up. She may have like did something similar there with the voting. I don't remember though. Don't quote me on that. And ever since like Bloodlines, legitimately, like she lost a pole wrestling match to go to the finals against Cara in Bloodlines, who she was like 40 pounds heavier than. Like, girl, sit on that pole. Like that's it. It's over with. Like, what's Cara Maria gonna do to
sit on
you?
that pole is a diabolical statement.
Oh, dang! I just heard it.
That is a diabolical rendering of pole wrestling.
I didn't mean that. I meant just like put your
Anissa,
weight.
we're sorry,
I
queen.
meant put your weight on it so she can't take it from you. But her sort of like big claim to fame is her elimination record. An elimination record which I think she owned until free agents for the I think she owned the record for most elimination wins up until like free agents. And part of that was happening because people had no issue sending her in because she was one of them people that like never took it personal and never came back and like
Yeah.
raised hell. So she could just kind of be thrown in repeatedly and she won a lodge. Like she said, she was the first woman to do a pole wrestle, or one of the first two. But
That bothered me, by the way, in the moment
I was like,
for
you didn't.
no reasons other than just the fact that like you had to have wrestled against someone.
Yeah.
And so and when they showed the clip, I was like,
So you weren't the
Anissa,
first. So you're a
yeah.
liar.
No, actually, my first thought was, did she wrestle against a man? And then they showed the clip, and I was like, it takes two to pole wrestle, queen.
It sure does.
Did we talk about everybody pole wrestling this in this one? I think we did, right?
Yes, we did.
Let me
We did.
see.
We're done. I was just talking about Anissa talking about, now that I'm 42, I'm ready to get it popping. No, you're not. Stop playing.
I see. I hope she does get it popping.
uh,
Okay.
I'm pretty sure she went against like I feel like yeah, she went against Paula in that pole wrestle. Shout out to Paula. I miss you, girl. Come back. Actually, I miss Evelyn, and apparently I read an article this week that said Evelyn was invited, but she's too busy now to like do the show.
Oh, okay.
What was the next one? So next we went. Well, no, actually, before we got into that, we went into the era two nominations for some reason, which I guess was like a way to talk about Paulie. But they showed like the events that happened prior to Michelle coming and confessing her sins to Paulie,
Yes.
where Paulie confronts Bananas and says, "Man, what are you doing?" And I was like, "Paulie, you don't have enough." No, I said, "Fall back, Paulie." I was like, "Paulie, you don't have enough political capital to be the one making these
I
sorts
didn't
of
even think
gestures."
that because I was like, okay, my brain obviously was like, Polly's going to defend his girlfriend, like, duh.
Yeah.
But more than anything, I just thought that Banana, I think Laurel is so full of shit in general. But for Banana saying, like, she could have squashed this beef, like, she could have figured this
No,
out.
so I went Bananas being himself. This is like a very Banana is like gaslight gatekeep girl boss. He rationalizes he makes like very emotional decisions. He rationalizes them, and then when people do them to him, when people make, which are good game decisions, I will say like this wasn't like a terrible game decision for him per se.
Hmm.
I would have voted in Aviv just because it's early days. You don't know how the rest of the game is going to shake out as just like a insurance policy, but it really doesn't mean anything for him to vote Kara in, him specifically too, right? Like they've never been friends. They've tried at several different times to like squash their beef, but like they always end up like in some sort of like tug of war for power with each other. She also was directly responsible for sending him home on like World of the War of the Worlds, one of those games, War of the Worlds 2, I believe.
Do you think
So
Cara was right in saying that Bananas was a little bit salty about her beating him
yeah,
in the
they all are.
invitation?
Kara hates Tori for the same reason. Like Laurel hates Kara because Kara is a direct threat to Laurel's legacy on this show. Kara hates Tori because she feels like Tori was and is a threat to Kara, but Tori was also like beloved by the production team and the fans in the way that Kara
Hmm.
wasn't initially as well too. So I think all that plays in, and Bananas for sure, like he's been on a bit of a he's been in a he was in a pretty heavy slump after winning Rivals 3. He came back consistently and got not even just like lost but got sent home like early, like didn't even make a finals for several seasons in a row. And those also happened to be two of those seasons Kara won,
Okay.
right? Did Kara win? Yeah, Kara won Bloodlines and Vendettas, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, so two of those seasons Kara won, and she pretty much went to the finals on every other one. I think so she kind of been like beating him recently, I will say. Um
Yes.
and then
I
she took a break for a while.
I will say one. I know this is just literally generally fashion that's happening right now, but the two big headbands on the men, the women, the really just, and I know they're sweatpants. I know this. I'm being illogical, but
Oh,
I
I think this is
can't
just fashion,
stand.
babe. I don't think
I
it's
thank
this is
God because I can't stand the two big ass headbands. Like Cara Maria's little folded bandana, Darren's big
Kara's
ass
flag is
headbands.
a new accessory that she premiered. She became a patriot, I guess, during her break because she only started wearing it last season. She came in as a mercenary, and then now I guess it's like a part of the look. I don't know why.
Well, I wrote Cara Maria. I hate your hair,
I don't
so.
think it's great. Oh, that's terrible.
I'm so, I said that I would be more demure. I promised, but I had to say it. And Carmaria, even though I don't like your hair, on the off chance that you ever hear this, even though your hair and your headband bother me, I would literally throw Laurel into a volcano for you. So don't worry about it.
I've never hated her hair. I've liked it better at times than others. I don't think I love the coloring recently, but I do like the little gray
I
or
hate
that.
the feathers.
Oh, okay.
Take them off, Geronimo, please. This is not what's happening here.
She's Captain Jack.
It's giving Captain Jack. It's giving I'm being an Indian for Halloween. Like, please take them
Yeah,
off.
it's definitely given costume store.
Yes.
Yeah, so I think yeah, Kara is right when she says Bananas hates me because he's threatened. Like I think that's true. Also, I don't know why he's threatened because she's won twice and he's won 7 times. Not
Can
funny.
we know we're not talking about Hall Brawl yet. Just kidding. Um,
No, we can
so
move on. We can move on. I got sidetracked.
no, it's fine. It's fine. Where are we? Are we Hall Brawl now?
No,
No,
well,
we're
we are. So where
yeah.
we get to is Cara Maria and Bananas and Paulie having that conversation, and then in the midst of Paulie trying to console Cara, Michelle walks up, and I actually wrote Michelle continues to play the challenge like it's Survivor. I don't know why she took the blame for voting Paulie in. All you do is paint a target on your back from Paulie. She goes, "I put you in. It was entirely my decision." I was like, did he not volunteer? Like all you have to like on the challenge when someone even like pretends like they're gonna like throw themselves in, you put them in and you go, hey, I'm just giving you what you want. It's what you want. Everybody was there. We all witnessed it. You said
Yeah.
you wanted to go in. You're going in. Like, and that just kind of that gives you free range to just throw people in like no mercy
Yeah.
without any backlash. Like Paulie gave you that out. Like that. Like why are you coming to him to talk about how you like did something to him, like that, to apologize. Like, just let
Yeah.
it go. Just let it go. If he wants to talk about it, you go, no, I only put you in because you said you wanted to go against Theo. You wanted to squash the beef and stand up for your girlfriend. I thought that's what you wanted. Oh, my bad. I got you next time. like, and
Side
let
note,
it
have they
go.
ever done a winners only season of Survivor? Like only people who have won before?
Yeah, she was on there.
Okay.
Oh, I feel like we talked about this last week.
We
maybe
did because
maybe
you
maybe we didn't talk about that it was a winter season, but like we yeah, no,
oh,
I
okay,
feel
yes.
like you've done this before. Maybe
Okay.
not on here, maybe like offline, but
Okay, fair
so
enough.
then we get into it. We see Paulie get thrown in. We see Horacio and Nerys making out on people's dining room table, y'all.
And I literally said, oh my gosh, maybe I didn't write it down, but I said, get your ass off of the dining room table where people are eating. Can I ask a hall brawl question?
Yep.
Is it illegal to just jump over the other person?
No, thank you for saying. I thought Paulie should do this, and I actually wrote. I was like, Paulie's ego is too big for him to just evade
Jump over
contact.
Theo. That's
For
what I was
like
confused about.
Paulie's
I was like,
ego is
why would you not just jump over the other person?
yeah. I just thought like, Paulie, what are we doing here? That man is again, that man is a foot taller and
Yes.
like 50 pounds heavier than you at
Yeah,
least.
at least.
At least, like please
I
do
wrote
something.
Polly. Well, my autocorrect always wants to change it to Pauline. So it says Pauline got his shit rocked.
That first one when like Theo is literally standing at the end of the hallway and Paulie's trying to like wrestle him. I'm like, Theo, you're like 7 feet tall. Just reach over and touch the button.
That was what I was thinking. And then do you know? Oh my gosh. And I should have looked this up and I told myself to do so before today. But like, because obviously the Olympics just passed, that female rugby player, like the best, like
Alona
one of
Mar, yeah.
the, no, 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 not ours. She has black
Oh,
hair
I know who you're talking about. I know who
with
you're talking about.
that
Um,
TikTok where she just picks up the woman and keeps
yes,
running.
yes, yes.
I was like, why don't like those were my two things with Hall Brawl. I was like, either you jump over somebody or you just pick them the fuck up and you keep going.
Mm.
Like that was my thing with like Theo. Is I was like, just pick or no, that was my thing with Nerys and Olivia. Is like I was like I don't remember who in which direction I think I was thinking. No, I was thinking about this with Nerys. I was like, oh, I was like, literally take her with you. Take
Yeah.
her with you to your button because she cannot hit your button. She can't go around the thing. And so if you take her with her to your button and she can't go nowhere,
I don't
like
think Nerys had it, and I don't think Nerys could actually move Olivia all the way down that hall. I think Nerys, neither Nerys nor Olivia have like any experience in like contact sports anyway. So like this just wasn't like their thing, gonna be their thing anyway. And Nerys has just never been like a physical player in that way. In the two times that we've seen her, she's a very smart player. This was
mhm.
just this sort of challenge, this sort of elimination, just like straight up brute strength was not in her wheelhouse. It was not going to be her
Yeah, I
thing.
can see that. It made me very sad when she went. Also, she's just like in her confessional,
I
she
was
is
like,
just so
Maurice, you need to hit the.
beautiful.
Also, Horacio and Kylan weren't helping her at all. I forget what cues they were like giving her, but like that's not like I was like, why is nobody telling her to get low? Nerys ran at Olivia both times, like standing straight up, and I was and I was like watching it, like she's like literally just like jogging like back straight as a board.
Wait, was it them where somebody was like, did they make a pact not to hurt each
Yeah,
other?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I just think neither one of them wanted the contact. Like I know Nerys for sure didn't want it. Olivia is a little bit more of but like again, Olivia has never been like about like the brute strength. She is like strong, like surprisingly so. But she's sort of more like deceptively strong. She's not like somebody that's gonna power through people. This wasn't their thing. I expected Olivia
See,
to.
if
I
I
actually wrote
ever,
this was boring. I didn't. There was no part of this that I enjoyed, mostly because my girl Nerys lost, but
I was very sad about that. And then I didn't, yeah,
she
I
didn't
didn't
know
write
what to
anything
do. And I'm like,
else.
Horacio sitting there talking to her about this, that, and the third. I'm like, tell her to get low. Like, it was crazy to me that like neither one of them seemed to understand the concept of like getting low and like lowering their center of mass to try to like create more force. Neither of them seemed to understand that. Probably again because neither of them have
Again,
ever
if
ever
I
played contact
knew
sports.
if I knew I was going to go on the challenge, right, and I knew that there was a chance that a hall brawl could happen, right, especially for people who've been on the challenge before, I would be at a
Hitting
high
things,
school.
yeah,
I would be at
yeah,
a high school football practice. Like,
like tackle
I
practice,
know I
yeah.
don't have any business being here, but can you teach me how to run through somebody?
You don't
Because
even
I know,
need you don't even need a high school football practice. You just need like a mat and like a backyard. Like one,
I
because
need some beach.
you're doing this in sand, right? And like go to the
Yeah.
beach, put something up, and just like or get a friend that's like equal size or a little bigger, and just practice like running into people. Watch a video about tackling. Like
Yes, anything like that. That was very confusing to me. But then that is actually where I wrote I low-key hate Kara's hair. I don't know why, but at some point in time I was just looking at her.
they probably showed her.
Oh, they probably, yeah, when like Paulie was getting his ass absolutely handed to him. And then I don't have any more for this because my next note is about Kellyanne.
Okay. No, but what did you think? Were you happy with the results or?
Oh, very sad about Nerys going. Just because I don't know anything about Olivia and you've endeared me to Nerys. I look at even now I'm looking at Theo's fucking the
Eyebrow?
rock smell what the rock is cooking ass eyebrow.
When he won and it threw that little banner up that said like winner CEO in that brow prop
Yes,
popped up, I was like
I was like, Polly, you should like you didn't stand a chance.
devious
That man was
brow.
going yes, like the devious
Count
brow man was
Olaf brow.
coming. It is. Oh my God. It is literally a Count Olaf brow. It is, yes. Like, Polly, you were nothing except a Baudelaire child
Oh
in front
god.
of a Count Olaf. But you
Sunny.
were a Baudelaire between
Should have
Count
bit
Olaf
him.
and the Fortune. This was a slippery slope. You were at the BFW or whatever they used to call it. Like you, Count, he literally looks like Count. Wait a minute, because Jim Carrey's Count Olaf. No, wait a
Yeah, he's
minute.
like tall and lanky too.
I'm genuinely upset by this. Actually, where is that? That fucking.
And doing it down.
Like the devious brow indicated that Paulie never had a chance. He was nothing but a Baudelaire orphan, like,
when
in the
oh,
way.
so let's go to the next thing. I'm very happy with Theo's win. I actually wrote, well, I didn't write this. I thought like when Theo won, I was like,
Okay.
God, I'm so happy to have Theo back. Like Theo was
Yes.
really good, like really good. He has to take some time off because he blinded himself in one eye, doing something.
Was it the eye with the eyebrow?
And honestly, maybe he had to have surgery, and now he's like, because I don't remember that brow being
Theo,
that high.
Theo, I'm so sorry. If this is a medical condition, Theo, if you can hear
Apologies.
me, if you can hear me and this is a medical condition, I apologize. If this is not a medical condition, please stop with the devious brow.
Yeah,
I'm
maybe
crying.
he like injured that eye and injured that brow. Yeah, look at us. Put it down.
I'm so sorry. That's so funny to me. Okay. Thank you. That was the funniest thing I've heard all week.
Oh, okay. So the next
Okay.
one we have Era 3 going in Take Shelter, which again, whoever said Take Shelter was an iconic elimination, I don't know. They lied. I just think
I
they didn't.
also kind
You
of
know
hate
what?
the
You know
name.
what I really wish they would have played? They had
Hmm.
this game on Ride or Dies, and they've had like multiple versions of it, but like the version that they played on Ride or Dies, and I think it was where Amber and Chauncey sent home Darrell and Veronica. It's like an elevator game. The people will know, and you have to like run down and get a thing and bring it up, and run down and get a thing and bring it. I wish they would have played that instead, or like I said, Not So Fast. But I'm not sure. I think Not So Fast maybe isn't like an era for like challenge original
Yeah, I see. Yeah.
elimination. But I'm pretty sure that elevator game is. Maybe it just was like the production and they couldn't set this up. But like yeah, I hated
And
this.
maybe because they had them all in close quarters
Yeah.
too.
Yes, that's true. I also hated I hated Take Shelter. I've hated Take Shelter anytime I've seen it because I think we've only seen it twice. I think we've only seen it once, but I'm making up a time where we saw it on All Stars.
That's
But
very interesting because they definitely like hype it up like it's like this thing like that is
and that's
known.
why they only had one clip of it. They only showed Jay upsetting CT because I'm pretty sure they've only played it once. Like,
Okay, that
and
makes a whole bunch of sense.
I need to like go find like an online list of all of the eliminations from from the era 4, because I bet you there's one better than this that
Do they
like originated in era 4.
play this? No, I'm assuming they don't play the.
They don't, but there are
Okay.
crowd favorites. They don't always. So like pole wrestle, I feel like is probably one that has been played a lot, like the most.
Hmm.
Um, Hall brawl is also a frequent use, and I just think one is like simple. Both of them are very simple. Set up two hallways, and they've like changed up hall brawls. They've made it a circle before. They've made it a crawling thing at one point where you had to crawl under, like initially crawl under like something, and then you would get to like this little zone where it was upright and you could run through. And they've had like one where you like crawl all the way, and that one there was like just not a lot of contact because like how am I gonna fight you and we're both on our bellies?
And
Like
we're crawling,
people
yeah.
typically just gave way. Like whoever kind of got there first just kind of kept going around. But yeah, so hall brawl and pole wrestle are probably the two most frequent
Hmm.
use ones. I want to say maybe like balls in is, I think it's probably been played like 4 or 5 times, like not that much. Not so
Balls
fast.
in was to me. I was not enthused
It
by
wasn't
balls in.
the. It's not. This ain't the real balls in. Like that
Okay.
little inner circle thing was not the thing. They played balls in. Was it last thing on Ride or Dies, which was 2 seasons ago, and it was Jordan versus somebody. Jordan versus Horacio actually, and it was like incredible. It was amazing. I'm pretty sure that
Okay.
happened. Like Jordan versus Horacio happened on Balls In, and it was like it was an amazing bout. Like because there wasn't no like inner safety circle. I don't know what that mess was. Yeah, but the first thing I wrote on Take Shelter was Paulie's freaky ass should have left after losing because he started talking about tying that girl up, and I was like, why is this in the show? Like, remove this. Nobody wants to hear about this, bro.
That was very unfortunate. My first
I
thing that I
absolutely
wrote
hated that, and I
is
watched the episode
yeah.
twice, so I
Oh,
absolutely hated that, and I
almost.
forgot it was in the episode on my second watch.
I wrote okay, Kellyanne, but well, like when she was like talking about herself, but then I wrote, but shut up about the psychic.
On God, I think I wrote when,
Please.
oh, I didn't read it because it was on this other page. It was when they were first had the flashback, and I was like, Kellyanne Psychic getting fired.
Like absolutely. I was like, Kellyanne, please stop talking about the psychic. And then I wrote under that, I like the bunker challenge because that's what I've been calling it. But I also wrote these edits are wild because they did like two Gen Z ass edits. Did you notice them? Like
Which
the
ones are you
Mr.
talking about?
the Mr. Krabs meme kind of one, like where like it got like oh God, I don't know why I didn't take a picture, but there was the
Yeah,
one with space, like when
yeah.
somebody went to space,
Yes,
and then
that's
there was
actually when did that. I wrote the editors are having fun today, and it was when Paulie and Theo first hit each other.
yes, when his soul left his body. I think
Yeah,
Banana said that. And yes, that one, and then during the bunker challenge, because I'm never gonna remember calling it
take
keep
shelter.
thank you, because it doesn't make any sense. The swirly, like it got like swirly at
Yeah,
some point. I was like, what in the Mr. Krabs? And that's what I wrote. These edits are wild. And that's what I was gonna ask you if they always edit this way, because I was like, this is meme culture 150%.
the only thing I thought about this, and this might be one of the reasons I don't like take shelter because I always prefer the games where like the elimination round is supposed to be like a mano y mano, like 1v1 sort of thing. So I always
Fighting for your
prefer,
life, yes.
yeah, so I always prefer the ones where they have to battle against each other either in strength,
Mm,
in endurance, in whatever, right? Agility, speed, whatever, right? They're tethered together by a rope. They got to run to the other side of the arena and drag your person across. Cool,
yeah.
right? You got to wrestle a pole away from somebody. Cool. You got to knock somebody on their ass and then go ring a bell. Great. Like all of that is fine. Take shelter. One of the reasons I don't like it because I think it's hard to like gauge player progress in that because like what might look like a simple knot to me, like this person just might not have the dexterity to like undo it, right? So I'm like, oh
Yeah.
yeah, that's a simple knot, they'll be there. It's really hard to like gauge player performance, and that's one of the reasons I really wish that if we were doing something like this that they would have just did like not so fast, which I
Mm,
and you don't know what not so fast is. I have to show you.
yeah.
I'll show you after this because we're almost done. But like it's essentially what you do is both people start with, let's say, like 150 feet of rope, And obviously 150 feet of rope is a lot of rope and it's very heavy. And you have to, and you start with like this like jungle gym, like playground type
Hmm.
structure, and you have to wrap this rope around and make this like complicated labyrinth that your opponent will eventually have to unravel. It's like the same thing like this. Basically, you both go into your corners, you create this thing, you have like 25 minutes, 30 minutes to do it. So again, you're moving heavy ass rope for 30 minutes straight. It's incredibly like taxing. It's very tiring. There's strength, there's endurance, speed is a factor, right? Like all of it. Intelligence, right? Strategy, like you have to be smart. Do I go up first? Do I go down first? Because whatever I do first while I have the most energy is what my opponent will have to do last when they have the
Yeah.
least amount of energy. Do I want them climbing like when they're very tired, or do I want them climbing immediately out of the gate? Do I want to climb
Yes.
immediately out of the gate, or do I just not want to worry about that? And then at the end, y'all switch and y'all have to unravel each other's rope. And then not only do you have to unravel it, you have to pull it into like the original starting position that your opponent had it from on the
Gotcha.
other side.
Okay.
So then there's the thing of like I might be able to get this unwrapped. Like maybe your thing wasn't like super complicated, but it was all up, and I had to keep going in and out or whatever. So I got it done
Mm-hmm.
quickly. Now I got to sit here and pull 150 feet of rope, and I'm very tired because I've been climbing, and all my forearms are super sore. Versus mine was like super complicated, but you didn't have to move like right. You didn't have to
Exactly.
like tire out all of your forearms or whatever.
Yeah, because Brandon was mostly just standing there
Yeah.
during bunker, and
And I actually like was cursing Brandon out this entire challenge because to me it just looked like he wasn't trying hard enough. I was like, "What are you doing?" But again, it's
he
hard to
didn't seem
tell.
to be moving very
He
fast.
didn't seem to be moving very fast. He could have been tired. It could have been like anything. But there was like a point specifically when like Ryan is like trying to get the door open. Brandon's like door, or Ryan's door, I guess, didn't seem like it had a lot left on it, nor that it was like very tightly like enclosed. I felt like
Mm-hmm.
Brandon could have also started pulling at that point because it's not about cleaning the door. It's about being like getting the door to a point where you can open it, which is why another reason why I hate
Exactly.
this because you should have to
Yeah.
remove everything. It's about getting the door open enough to a point where you can go in and hit the buzzer.
Yeah, because that was
So
my thing is with Kelly and Ankara, because I think that maybe I don't know if you have a different opinion, but either they like did a weird edit or something like that because they like showed Cara pulling on the door like before, and like it was pretty open, and I was like, that seems a little bit weird, but I think they just maybe misedited. But
I think
um
she pulled twice. She got it, and she got it like I think it may be like halfway and it got stuck. But they did two things. So they showed they tried to kind of make it seem like Car was behind, and the fact that they were trying to sell that so hard led me to believe like I thought Car was gonna win like pretty much halfway through. Because I was like like the way Laurel is being edited right now, like cheering so loudly for Kellyanne, and like just like who we're hearing from, I think these people are about to get disappointed.
yeah.
But they show her like opening it, and like honestly, I was screaming at her go in, but I guess she couldn't fit or whatever she like whatever it was. So then she
Yeah,
goes back to
exactly.
like trying to do like one more knot or whatever. And I was like, oh, that's when I thought it was like the closest because like Kellyanne also seemed like she was like right there as well too. Like
Yeah.
Kellyanne still had like chains going through, but it seemed like all of the rope was gone. And if she would have like just made like one big yank, she probably, and she's a smaller body as well too. She probably could have gotten enough
That would
space
be
to
the
just like
very
crawl
first
in.
thing I would do is yank on the door and
Yeah,
see how well you did before I
yeah,
even start clearing anything off.
yeah. Um, Brandon and Ryan. I think Ryan was just after it a lot harder. This was impressive for Ryan. I expected Ryan to
It
lose pretty much anything he
was.
went against Brandon in. I didn't
Well,
expect Ryan
Brandon
to
said something about like if this had been like just like a
any other
physical
challenge.
altercation, then yeah, then Ryan would have gotten his shit handed to him.
Yeah,
Um, but yeah, I mean, I again, like I said at the beginning of at the top of our episode, that's the only challenge I think, or the only elimination I would ever participate in.
really. I think
I
you could do a low pole wrestle.
I don't think I could do well. I mean, maybe how much I weigh would be beneficial for pole wrestle. If anything, for me in my head, it would be take shelter. And surprisingly, I think hall brawl. I would actually really once I if I learned how to do it like
Yeah,
properly,
yeah.
safely, I should say. I think I would relish the opportunity to just fucking run through somebody's kneecaps. I think that'd be a lot of
Yeah,
fun.
you're already almost to the ground, so You wouldn't even
Are
have to
we?
bend down that
Let's
much.
move on. Are we gonna Are we gonna talk about the karma vote situation?
Oh yeah, I hate it. I wrote what the F is a karma vote. I hate it. I don't even know what
That's
it is
wrong.
yet entirely. I pretty much hate it.
I at first I thought I got it, but then they did the ranking and then I was
Yeah.
confused.
You know what I thought this was? I thought this was because they've done these things where they do like they call them like bombs on double agents, maybe somewhere else. Vendetta's Total Madness, Total Madness. Where basically like when you won an elimination round, you got this like thing. It can either be a disadvantage that you gave to an opponent in the next daily challenge, or an
Mm-hmm.
advantage that you got for yourself or your team in the next
Okay.
challenge. I thought that's what this
Like a
was going to
golf
be.
handicap.
Yeah, like either a handicap or an advantage.
Gotcha.
So I thought that's what this was going to be, but then I was like, why are the losing players getting it? They going home. So
Yeah.
then like for a second I was like, oh, maybe they're going to have like a playoff, like a bracket, because we've done that too, like a house of the eliminated players. They go elsewhere, they're sequestered elsewhere, and then at some point in the midpoint of the game, they get to participate in the purge challenge, and the first two men and two women or whatever get back into the game, or one man or one woman gets back into the game.
My very first thought was something similar, was that they were gonna um like do like the men from two and the men from, because there was what, like one man, one woman from each. I
Yeah,
was like, ooh, like maybe they're gonna do another challenge, and then all of a sudden like everybody else is sitting in the house and like somebody
two more
walks
people
back in
walk
and it's just
in.
like, what up, motherfucker? Like I was like, oh, maybe. But then I thought I got, again, I thought I got the karma vote because I was like, oh, they're just gonna like be able to be like, oh, like a tally system or a strike system,
Yeah,
basically. Like, oh, Amanda's gonna be like, fuck you, Laura.
Tori.
No, Tori. I always want to say Laurel. It's gonna be
I
like, fuck you,
love
Tori.
how
But
under edited Tori's been this season. Let's keep it that way. Now y'all just gotta under edit her friend Devin. Get them both off my screen. Just
yeah,
for a
fair
little bit.
enough.
Just for a little bit. I don't need to hear
Well,
from them.
again, I looked at Devin, I was like, who's that? But then like again, when they were sitting in the confessional and they did like the ranking, that's when I was confused. But maybe it's like
I think it's going to be an
a
advantage in the
point
final. Yeah,
system.
I think, and I hate it. I think it's essentially like a what is it called? Like a social credit system is what it seems like so
Yeah,
far,
exactly,
and I
yes.
hate it. I actually hate it. I think like if your social game should matter like in the game to keep you out of an elimination or to get you, whoever you want to, like that's where your social
Mhm.
game matters. I don't care about like randomly getting to the finals and being like, Amanda thought very highly of you, so here you go, you get an advantage, because they did this on All Stars 4 essentially, where when people were getting eliminated in the finals, they got to give up a star, and then at the end Laurel had the most stars, and she basically got to skip like half of the finals because you could like just put a star down. So she had 4 stars, so she got to skip a task 4 times.
Yeah.
And there were 5 rounds. So like in 4 out of the 5 rounds, she got to skip something, which I didn't mind it on that because it's like All Stars is not real. Like that's for the old biddies. Uh, but I didn't mind it there. But it seems like it's going to be some sort of like social credit system where
Yeah, I think
now
so.
I'm in the finals, and maybe if we get to a checkpoint where we all have to run up a mountain with a weight vest with 60% of our body mass or our weight. Now I can take off 15%. So now you're running with 60% of your body weight, and I'm running with 45% of my.
Yeah.
Like I don't want stuff like that in a final specifically. Like if you want them to impact the game, have them impact the daily challenges, right? Like have them.
That's what my thinking was, especially with the trailer for next week, where I was kind of like,
It looks like
it kind
another
of,
super trailer. Like we haven't gotten a trailer. Well, maybe you did. Maybe I missed it. But like I feel like I haven't seen a trailer of like coming up next week. Here it is. I feel like I just saw another super trailer that was like a compilation of like multiple episodes in the future, and I didn't
no,
appreciate that.
yeah, I think you're right. I think that because I just obviously watched literally the taped version from MTV, I think it looked super in terms of like there being multiple things, but also like I don't know that that's not, I wouldn't have known that that's not how that works until just now. So upon retrospect, I think it was a super trailer.
Sorry.
They're fine.
Anything else?
Oh my God. Are we doing our segment who we think won this week?
Yeah, sure. I forget about this until you remind me.
Well,
I feel like
it's
we should just call it like an MVP and an LVP. But we'll go who we think won this
what
week.
is LVP?
Least
Least
valuable
valuable
player.
player? Okay.
Mhm.
We can do MVP, LVP.
No, no, no. You
Um,
got it. Who won this week?
I think Cara Maria won this week.
Yeah.
Because she gets to come back and be like, fuck you, bitches.
Mm.
And who do I think lost this week? I'm just gonna give it to Nerese because it makes me sad.
I'm gonna. I would have given it to Derek. I was thinking about this when I was watching the episode. I would have given it to Derek, but I thought Theo was so dominant in his elimination that I'm gonna give it to Theo
Anything to
and
make
his
Laurel
brow.
unhappy. Oh, Count Olaf strikes again, searching for the Baudelaire orphans.
No, I Theo looked great. Theo, where the hell is Theo? Oh, there he is, and he's looking over his shoulder too in his
I'm
cast
like,
photo.
Count Olaf, bro, you
It
clocked it
is
so
it is
completely.
quite devious. The whole pose is kind of crazy. Hold on, let me see the full blow picture. Like
It's so
he's
crazy.
like ham. Oh my God, Theo, the guns
I
look
have him
big
blown
though.
up the size of you right now, and it is so
He's
devious.
jacked. He looks jacked for sure, but my gosh.
It's so up there.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's so sharp. Good
And
for
you know
him.
what's funny? I think both eyebrows are doing that. We can only see the left one, but
Yes.
it's like it looks like a freaking what is that called?
Like
Like a like a I was going to say like a swing set, but
a
like
parab
yeah.
I was gonna say a
It
parabola.
it
Is that
looks like the path of a pendulum like graphed out like legitimately like both of his brows are like and then
what?
very
Oh my
sharply
god.
arched. That's
Yeah.
crazy. You know what?
Oh, Count
You know what
Olaf.
I thought was the crazy? I thought Brad's photo was crazy because his arms just look insane. Like the way he's holding his. Brad has crazy eyes, and he always does. Like he's had crazy eyes in all of his cast photos for years, but like on this one, he's just like. I feel like he was like frozen in like it was like a sci-fi attack happened, and he was just like frozen while he was about to do something.
Is this thing on? Because I have to say something.
Do we have to edit it out?
You might have to.
Okay.
CT's really doing it for me.
Yeah, CT's sexy.
Thank you. Thank you.
CT's been sexy my whole life. Like CT's been fine since I was 10 years old. Ain't nothing changed.
I just
Have you seen CT's
Mamma Mia
Homecoming?
Pizzeria.
Have you
No, because you keep telling me to watch them and I don't.
You need
And
to
I don't.
watch it. You'll see like younger images of him. You'll see images of him from when he was younger. He's basically gone through like not every, but like tons of hairstyles, tons of beard options. Just look up CT from Free Agents. Tons of like hairstyles, some tons of beard options, tons of like body proportions like as well too. And he's
Well,
been
this
sexy the whole
proportion
time.
is doing it for me.
I bet it is.
Him
Yeah, CT's fine.
and his White Walker eyes.
That's crazy.
You
CT's
you
been
know what a
fine.
White Walker looks like.
Not really. CT's been fine since I
Oh.
was in elementary school, and Darrell's been fine since I was in elementary school. Like I remember Darrell and CT and Landon specifically being like some of the first men that I had like crushes on, like growing up.
I actually really love that. That's actually really important to me.
The hottest take is I thought you were gonna have a real hot take. The hot take is like bananas kind of fine too. Turn that off. Oh my god. Okay, I think we're finished.
Okay.
So this is great.
This was I feel like we're finding a groove and I really like it. I am
Yeah,
crazy though, so happy
yeah.
about that.
Rein it in.
I don't
Take
know.
us out, Maddie. Let's get out of here.
Well, see you later, nerds. Bye.
That was very cool of you. Something AC Slater would say.
Okay. Well, see you next week on the
Yeah.
reality roundup.
Yep. Thank you guys for watching.
Bye.
Bye.